Now joining me in studio to discuss the upcoming Chenango Threat Assessment Committee Public Forum, President and CEO of Commerce Chenango, Salvatore Testani. Hello, Sal. How you doing today?
I'm well, Avery. How are you?
Good. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So tell me all about Shentak, kind of your missions.
Sure. So Shentak is a threat advisory management team that we started 2 years ago. If you remember, when we talked last year, we were in the process of this. Governor Hochul, and 3 years ago now, committed what was called Executive Order 18. After the shooting that occurred at the Top Supermarket in Buffalo, the governor mandated that every county come up with a domestic terrorism plan. Part of that plan is the creation of what's called a threat assessment management team. And under the guidance of your sheriff's department, each county was instructed to set those teams up. I'm really pleased to say we did that early on, and we've been very successful in helping some people in our community.
Yeah, congratulations. First of all, I think this is really important for your community and other communities as well to pick up on this and also do this.
We've learned from other communities that have already implemented it, and that's exactly the type of thing we're trying to emulate in Chenango County.
Yeah, so one of the things that you're doing is you're having this public forum coming up about threat assessment and more things along those lines. So tell me kind of how you thought about starting these.
Yeah, the thing that we want to make sure that we bring the public involved and get them engaged is because the whole purpose of this is to create a network of information. You know, very often when people are on a pathway towards targeted violence, whether it's domestic violence or whether it's the type of shooting that we saw yesterday, unfortunately, in Texas, they all start and they all continue with a very specific pattern of behavior. If you can get people together that interact with people in a variety of ways, you can very often spot these behaviors before people commit that violence.
Yeah, so another question I had too is really what are people going to expect? And, you know, targeted violence is one of the topics. If you can tell us a little what people will learn there.
Sure. Targeted violence isn't the type of spontaneous violence that occurs when two people get into an argument at a bar or at road rage. Targeted violence is the type of violence that people conduct when they have a perceived grievance and they fester on that grievance. It becomes an obsession. After that grievance, they then follow a pattern that turns into violent ideation. I could punch them in the nose. Unfortunately, people that continue down this pathway don't have the coping skills to get off that pathway. So then they start to take on more concerning behavior, like violent ideation, and they do research, and then they breach, and then very often they continue on and commit these acts. If you can intervene prior to that and get people that they know and encourage them to talk to people who might be able to help them overcome the frustrations that they're feeling, you can very often get them off that pathway and help them with the coping skills they need to avoid those violent acts.
All right. Well, that's good information that people will learn. So, you know, sadly, this is a more reoccurring thing, and I'm glad that you almost have a full house at this event. So who can attend this, and do you have room for more?
Yeah, we have over 70 people registered, but we definitely can fit more. We would be happy to do that. It's open to anybody from the public because we want people to understand the type of information we share and how we share it. We're very respectful of the confidentiality that's required to discuss these things. People on the Shentak team have been trained in how to share that information. Daniel Otwater, the Commissioner of Social Services for the county, will present tomorrow to talk to you about how carefully we do treat that information. And so the more people who are engaged in places of worship, in business, any place where people congregate, if we can get those people to join this team, we have a better chance of spotting these behaviors before they manifest themselves in our community and it's too late.
Yeah, of course. So I know you mentioned who will be speaking there, and I know you'll be there. Is there any other notable people that will be presenting or speaking?
Yeah, I'm extremely pleased that that person on the is the leader of the Shentak team. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. Wes Mills, he's a retired state trooper with over 20 years experience. We'll have Dustin Smitana, our undersheriff, who will be there as well. Wes leads that team. He'll present, and he's going to specifically talk about two or three of the cases that we've handled and talk about how we've been able to help those people, and you'll get a better understanding of exactly how you can get involved. We'll also have my brother, who's a retired FBI agent, who helped us form this team to begin with, and who runs two of these TAM teams in Rochester, from Monroe County and Wayne County. And then finally, we will hear from Daniel Otwater to share with you how it is appropriate to share this information and how it does help people. This is not a police activity. This is a community activity aimed at making Chenango County a safer place to visit, work, and live.
Yeah, again, this is becoming more frequent, so this is very important for people to learn, you know, the simple steps to maybe help someone or just talk to someone, like you've kind of said. So I want to ask too, what was I going to ask? So this isn't the first one that you've had, right?
This is our second recruiting
The
event
second
that we've
one?
had. That's
So I
right.
wanted to ask kind of, how was the response to the first one?
It's been great. We have a core team of about 30 people that meet once a month, and it's a very simple process. Wes runs through an intake of whether or not anybody's seen any concerning behavior in the past. People who have been specifically engaged with cases in the past provide an update. And then we talk about any upcoming training or opportunities that might occur. It's a very solid core. We'd like to expand that core. We'd like to see a larger group of people. We'd like to see more of our places of worship, more of our places of congregation, more places where people come together. More of our businesses should be engaged, because we all know about workplace grievances and where they can occur, right? These are the types of things where we want to spot these behaviors before, frankly, we do need to engage the police. We want to get people help before it becomes a crime.
Yeah, and for people that might be attending too, is it open for Q&A if people really want to get involved in this presentation?
Yeah, we will absolutely open it up for questions and answers. We will have very specific action steps that they can take to join our team. We will sign them up on the spot. We will provide training for them if they'd like to be engaged. We're hoping that we can double the size of our team.
All right, awesome. So how can people find more information if maybe they can't make it or then they want to join your team?
Sure. You can go to commercechenango.com and register. Click a link. It's free. You can show up tomorrow at the corner of Midland Drive and Griffin Street in Norwich at the Achieve building. There'll be signs that'll direct you in there. You can call 607-334-1400, and any of us at Commerce Chenango would be happy to answer questions.
All right, awesome. Well, Sal, thank you so much for joining me. I think this is so important, and thank you for sharing all of that.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, of course. For those of you who might have missed those details, Commerce Chenango invites the community to attend the Chenango Threat Assessment Committee Public Forum tomorrow, April 17th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. This takes place at the Achieve and Visions facility located at 27 Griffin Street in Norwich. This important event aims to educate the public on the warning signs of targeted violence, what to look for, how to recognize concerning behaviors, and ways to help prevent violent acts before they occur. The event is free and open to the public, and all are encouraged to attend and be part of the conversation around the community protection and proactive threat assessment. For more information, you can scan the QR code on your screen now or visit cca.commercechenango.com.